Lens on Africa.
Welcome to Lens on Africa. Each week on this show, we are committed to bringing you a holistic portrayal of the vibrant African spirit, from the rich beauty of African fashion and the pulsating rhythms of entertainment to the very profound depth of our history. We also immerse ourselves in cultural delights and we engage in thought-provoking dialogues. All of this is put together to give you a whole, unfolded, unhindered view of Africa, showcasing the continent's magnificence in every aspect. My name is Uju Ohiri Nwachiku. I welcome you to the program. Now let's get started. On African Tribes today, our lens is on the Bagisu tribe of Uganda. This is a very, very interesting tribe. Take a look.
The Bagisu people, or the Bamasaba people of Elgon, are a Bantu tribe and Bantu-speaking ethnic group of the Masaba people in eastern Uganda, who are closely related to the Bukusu people of Kenya. They live mainly in the Mbale district of Uganda on the slopes of Mount Elgon and speak Lugisu, sometimes called Lumasaba, which belongs to the Niger-Congo language family. These people had a loose political structure based on clans, with every clan having an elder known as chief of the clan. The men were chosen on the basis of age and wealth and were responsible for maintaining law and order, unity as well as the continuity of the clan. The Bagisu traditionally worship a supreme god called Welelunya, also known as Wele Namanga, with Namanga derived from the Nanga, denoting a cloth, a view indicating that God wears a white cloth to symbolize his holy nature. Since Welelunya is invisible and resides above, the Bagisu expect him to be everywhere and dwell in every activity they perform, including Mbalu circumcision, a traditional circumcision ceremony of boys which marks their initiation into manhood. Traditional Bagisus were primarily sedentary agriculturalists. Their two main staple food crops are millet and plantains, supplemented with several varieties of beans, yams, and cucumbers. They also kept cattle, sheep, goats, and dogs, used by professional hunters. The traditional style of dwelling consisted of a structure made of poles, samplings of bamboos interlaced into a framework, which was then plastered with mud and cow dung and thatched with grass or plantain fiber. While the basic style of the house has been retained, huts now have steeper roofs, one doorway instead of two, and some even have windows. Other changes in the house construction include rectangular shapes and a few brick and cement plastered homes. The Bagisu, in the traditional context, adopt any of three ways to marry. They are: marriage by formal alliance refers to marriage arranged by the fathers of the couple and validated only after payment of the bride price. Marriage by elopement often results from clandestine love affairs with an unmarried girl of the area or grows out of casual unions. Once the woman moves in with a man, she is referred to as his wife, and marriage by widow inheritance is one of which requires only a goat or two to be given to a woman's father in recognition of the new marriage. Once the bride price has been paid, all three methods are equally valid, and all three give the husband right to his wife's labor, control over her movements, and sexual rights. Artistic expression among the Bagisu is primarily confined to singing, dancing, and the playing of musical instruments. The instruments include the seven-stringed lyre, played by professional males, a single or double-stringed musical bow played with a crowd resonator, a man's instrument, and a reed zither. Drums are played by both men and women. On the plains area of Bagisu, a four-holed flute of bamboo is played with the instrument held vertically. Whistles of hard-bodied fruits are made by head boys.
Welcome back. Something was very intriguing for me about the tribe we just watched. It's the different ways that one could get married. You know, you could elope. Anyway, let's go down now to tourism segment. And today we are checking out the Musha Island located off the coast of Djibouti. It's breathtakingly beautiful. I don't have to tell you all about it. Take a look. Agree with me that Africa is beautiful. Welcome back from Musha Island. It's now time for me to tell you all about our social media handles on Facebook and YouTube. The handle is at Lens on Africa NTAI. On Instagram and the Lens on Africa NTA, and on X is at Lens on Africa. You can also watch us live on visiontv.co.uk. Up next is This Week in African History.
This Week in African History, 28 April 1971. Samuel L. Gravely Jr. became the first African-American admiral in the United States Navy. 29 April 1890. Henry Faulkner patented the ventilated shoe by placing holes in specific locations within the shoes, thereby helping to provide comfort and healthy feet to the world. 30th April 1983. Robert C. Maynard became the first African American to gain a controlling interest in a major metropolitan newspaper when he bought the Oakland Tribune from Garnett. May 1946. Emma Clarissa Clement became the first black woman to be named American Mother of the Year by the American Mothers Committee of the Golden Rule Foundation. 4th May 1891. Dr. Daniel Hill Williams founded the Providence Hospital and Training School. The institution was the first interracial hospital and nursing school in the United States.
Welcome back. On today's interview segment, our lens will be on agriculture, the cornerstone of Africa's prosperity. And our topic is effective management of agribusiness for economic growth in Africa. Stay tuned, because today we'll be engaging with an expert who's already here in the studio, and we'll be exploring the innovative strategies and resilient practices that are transforming our agricultural landscape here in Africa. And we'll also discover, how the blend of tradition and technology, policy and practices, education and entrepreneurship is transforming the agricultural sector into a powerhouse of economic development for the continent. But first, here's the backgrounder to get us started.
The continent of Africa is blessed with arable land and human population that can boost agricultural products for global consumption. However, our crops yield is low compared to the rest of the world. The continent's low yield is attributed to lack of access to inputs, technology, low use of advisory services, and a host of other factors. The failure to maximize Africa's potential resources has resulted to economic deficit for some of the countries in the continent. For instance, between 2016 and 2019, Nigeria's agricultural import stood at 3.35 trillion, which is 4 times higher than the agricultural export of 803 billion within the same period. The need to create food security and export for foreign exchange earnings has been prioritized by the government since assumption of office in May 29, 2023. Knowing the importance of agriculture as well as its impact on the economy, the federal and state governments have initiated numerous agricultural programs to boost productivity and increase food sufficiency to meet domestic demand and export. The federal government, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has promised to cultivate 500,000 hectares of land to grow major staple crops across the country. Also in late 2023, the federal government partnered with Jigawa State Government to launch the dry season farming with 120,000 hectares of land under the National Wheat Development Program. As part of achieving food sufficiency, the Niger State government also launched the Niger State Mechanized Agriculture Equipment to farm 10,000 hectares in each of the 25 local government areas of the state, including providing 500 tractors for farmers. While these programs have been lauded by many Nigerians as the right steps toward revamping the agricultural sector, Lens on Africa examines how best the federal and state governments can manage the agribusiness to sufficiently boost agriculture and economic growth. Stay tuned as we bring this discussion to you.
Welcome back. All right, I'll introduce you to my guest today, Dr. Steve Olusegun Ogidan, MNI. He's a development planner and author, a microfinance trainer and strategist with special interest in agricultural value chain, moral development and data management. He's also the managing director and CEO, Successory Nigeria Limited. Dr. Steve is currently providing consulting assistance to the governments of Angola, Mozambique, and others in agricultural development and poverty management among the rural populace. Welcome to Lens on Africa, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right. Thank you so much. So agriculture, agribusiness, that's our focus today. We're looking at how this can be used for economic development. Okay, so we know that agribusiness is a fusion of agriculture and business. From an expert's point of view, can you talk to us about this? Can you, elaborate and make it simple?
Thank you very much. When we talk of agriculture, whether agriculture or agribusiness, it involves a whole lot of long chain. starting from research for innovation to input suppliers to primary producers to processors to logistics providers and the manufacturers, and up to the point it gets to the table. Okay. Beyond that, we have the financials, the agricultural banking, we have the insurance company, and we have the advertisement company. So many people are involved in the chain. And it is not just one point that we talk of agribusiness. It is in the entire value chain.
So that's what makes it business.
Business, yes.
So, and not just the farm.
Not just the farm. Quite a number of other activities are involved in the processes.
That's interesting. Now let's talk about the key components of agribusiness management that actually contribute to economic growth.
There is no point in the agribusiness management that is not contributing to economic growth. Starting from the researchers in the universities up to the input suppliers, because the moment the farmers don't get right input, the business has failed. Okay. Then most of the time when we talk of agribusiness, people are looking at the primary producers, which is the dark hole in the entire chain. And that is why it is not attractive to the youth. We need to look at every chain, and people must be able to identify where do they want to work. Do they want to talk about technology? Do they want to talk about mechanization? Do they want to talk about input suppliers? And do they want to talk about farm gate mechanization and farm gate processing? So every part of it is involved, and that is where value is added. And that is why we are not making enough money in our agribusiness, because we don't add value at the different points of the chain. And as we say, a chain is as strong as the weakest link.
Yeah. Very true. Now, talking about making agriculture or agribusiness attractive to the youth, can you share with us how technology can be leveraged to improve efficiency and productivity?
In other parts of the world, where the youth have been encouraged to go into agriculture, the youth don't want to go into primary production. Because the primary production we are doing in Nigeria, we are still doing it the way our grandfathers did it. Okay. So the youth can go into agriculture at the point of mechanization, at the point of irrigation, at the point of processing, at the point of marketing or logistics. So if we compartmentalize these activities and we provide funding for the youth, they will find a place for them to be able to do it. And then technology will drive their business. The same way you have Uber for transportation. Yes. You could have Uber for agricultural business. You could have aggregators. When the farmers have produced, the youth can aggregate this produce together, clean it up, and then move it forward. Most of the challenges we see, why we are not getting enough income from our primary production, is because we don't have processing into it. The youth can really function very well, and processing fit into their mindset, not primary production.
But there's a lot of challenges, you know, surrounding what you just said. On paper, it looks really good the way you've said it, but there are a lot of challenges.
The challenges have to do with capacity, building capacity, encouraging extension services. Most of the time, when, you know, in Nigeria, we have this tendency to throw money at problems. They say the farmers are not doing well, give them some money. Money is not always the problem. The farmers have challenges of capacity. The farmer they have challenges of data. We don't even know the farmers. And that is why in our organization, the first thing we do is to capture the data of the farmers. We know the number of farmers, we know the number of groups where they are operating. When we get them into that group again, we now build their capacity and give them extension workers. I will give you specific examples. The IFAD Value Chain Development Program has been working in Nigeria now for over 4 years. And they are working in 9 states of the Federation. In the states where we manage, in Kogi, in Ogun State, when we send our extension workers to go and work with the farmers, when we call them back, they don't come back. They stay with the farmers because they have seen opportunities in the business. So what we need to do to encourage the youth to be able to do well is for other states, subnational government, to take over these responsibilities. The federal government has demonstrated how it could be done by signing agreement with International Fund for Agricultural Development. And they have demonstrated with the proof of concept. The state government, the local governments, we need to encourage their youth. There is no sector that can produce sufficient employment for youth in Nigeria like agriculture and technology. And we could marry the two together to be able to move the sector forward.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, now let's talk about policies. Despite numerous policies by previous administrations, specifically here in Nigeria now, to boost agriculture, why haven't we as a country been able to achieve sufficiency in crops production? The key word there is sufficiency.
Yes. We are making progress, but the progress may not be fast enough. Number one, our population is growing beyond our food production capacity. Secondly, food production has been distorted with major crises in the last 1-2 years. The first is COVID crisis. The second is the Russian-Ukraine war. And with the distortion in this system, it is difficult for us to get enough food to feed ourselves. And when you look at it again, you see that our farmers are not deploying technology. We still rely on rain-fed agriculture. What we have recommended is that at the heart of sufficiency in food production is irrigation. If it is possible for you to produce maize 3 times a year, why are you wasting time producing only 1 time? And when you produce only 1 time, the farmer goes to bed and they go and sleep. So we must be able to provide sufficient irrigation. The good news is that there are some state governments that have seen the light at the end of the tunnel and they are doing well. I will be specific. Niger State is doing a lot of work there. Edo State did it, doing mechanization, doing irrigation, and giving these jobs to giving the land to the youth for them to be able to farm on it. And we have experimented with it. With IFAD project, it is possible for these youth to get out of poverty and become millionaires within 3 harvest cycles. And you can do that within 2 years. All they need is technology, irrigation, appropriate seedling, and access to finance. They will create markets for them.
Okay, so if it is exactly how you have said it, why then? Is there a break in information, or is there still the fear of agriculture?
It's not the fear of agriculture. It's because in Nigeria we have left too many things for federal government. Federal government is in Abuja. These farmers are in the local government. Local government must be able to encourage their farmers and create opportunities for interaction and handshake. I give you a specific example again. See what is happening between Lagos State and Kebbi State. The production of rice is in Kebbi. The milling is in Lagos. The market is in Lagos. If Lagos State governor is not thinking enough to be able to engage the Kebbi State governor, the chain will be broken. So we need more collaboration. We need more integration. The market is in Lagos. We need potato farmers in Plateau to send this potato to Lagos. We need tomato farmers in Kaduna to send this to Lagos. And we need to be able to create a complete circle where the production hub is able to feed into the consumption hub. But for now, they are disaggregated and there is no connection. And it is only the subnational government that can do this, not federal government, because agriculture is local.
All right. Now, you mentioned some of the challenges that we face in the agricultural space you talked about, or that we have faced in the last 1 or 2 years. You didn't talk about security, especially in Nigeria.
It is a major issue. And again, security, again, is local. Because there was a time nobody could enter a community without the local government and go and knowing about it. But now we rely on military, we rely on the federal government to do it. Going to farm is not the problem now. Coming back from the farm is the problem. So we must be able to protect the farmland. Federal government has done what it could do by providing agro rangers. I give an example of Katsina State again. The present governor of Katsina State is extremely forward-looking. He has recruited more youths than the entire number of policemen that are in Katsina. And he has put them in the farm to be able to protect the farmers. The farmers cannot protect themselves. So security in the farm. And 2 things are happening. We have the climate change. A whole lot of things is changing. You can experience it with the weather and everything. And again, insecurity. So the combination of climate change and insecurity is driving the farmers out of the market. We must be able to protect them. Federal government can only put the policy in place, provide some level of funding, but the real work will have to be done by the subnational government.
Oh, right. All right. Now, you mentioned land, how that, you know, Nigeria is blessed with a lot of land, and Africa as well, and arable land at that. So what then can we do to turn the fortunes of the continent around? Because from the look of things, with the amount of land that we have, good enough, healthy land that we have, why are we not at that position where we can literally feed the world? What's stopping
The major challenge is infrastructure. Nigeria has the highest percentage of post-harvest losses. When the farmers produce, there is no road, feeder roads to move the produce from the farm to the market. We did a study for UNDP about 4 years ago. We discovered that, pick Kogi for example, a production point for agricultural produce in Kogi to the best market in Kogi takes a minimum of 5 hours. And most of the time there are no vehicles. So infrastructure is key. When you pick Katsina and you pick Jigawa, some of them will even have to go through Kano to be able to get to the market in their own place. So infrastructure is key. We need to do infrastructure. We need appropriate financing and appropriate product to be able to support the farmer. Then we need appropriate technology to be able, farm gate processing, small tilers to be able to move the farm to be able to produce more. We can't continue to produce the way our grandfather produced and be discouraging the youth. And you see, in other countries where we work, we have seen where the farming families are getting old. Our farmers are getting old. If we don't encourage the youth to take into farming, we will not be able to feed ourselves. There is no alternative to it. And our population is young. Just like every other part of Africa, more than 50% of Nigerians are under the age of 35. So we can't do farming if we don't get those people involved in that space.
Okay, now we've talked about technology and we've linked it to the youth, and
yes.
Now you've talked about the population. That's another blessing that Nigeria has and the continent also has. Can you give us some practical ways, whether as government, whether as organizations or individuals like yourself, can, get this teeming youth population to the farms, and effectively so? Our
youth need education.
Okay.
They already know technology. A large population that is illiterate is a disaster to the country. They need STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, to be able to do well in whatever they are doing. Let me give you the example of Angola. In Angola, the youth identify a major challenge, which is land preparation. What the government of Angola, with the services we provided, has done is, one, register the youth, arrange them into geo-cooperatives, mechanize the land, give the land for them to work on. And over a period of 3-4 years, they pay the cost of land preparation. There are so many virgin land in Nigeria that they've not farmed on before, and it is difficult for you to just roll in tractor and continue to work. Where do you even get the tractor? So government must be able to do it. And again, this government must be subnational government, because they know their people and their people know them. Even local government must be able to get it done. Employ their people, produce more, and then process.
All right. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about financial commitment to agriculture. In the past, it hasn't been completely successful. So the releasing of the finances has been successful, but recouping, I'm talking about loans now.
To farmers.
Recouping has been a major issue because most of the farmers have not been forthcoming with repaying loans that have been given out to them, causing low output. How can federal and state governments invest and ensure that they're able to recoup their investments in agriculture for sustainability?
I have worked in this sector for over 25 years. The farmers are extremely honest. And they are ready to pay back their loans if they were given at the right time. The major issue is that the loans that are provided to the farmers are provided to political farmers. The right farmers don't get the loan.
Sorry, can you say
political farmers, briefcase farmers, Abuja farmers who have no land. Those are the people who got the loans. The loans that were given to the agro-geo cooperatives that we formed, that we capacitated. You see, when you look at the financing infrastructure for agriculture, release of money is the last bus stop. The first thing is to develop the capacity. The second is for them to identify what they want to use the money for. The third one is to give them the inputs that they need. And the amount of money they really need at cash to do farm management is limited. But when you unbundle everything and you dump the money on the laps of the farmer, they take the money and use it for whatever purpose. So we must be able to have appropriate financing for the farmers. And we must be able to strengthen the other actors who will provide them for them. Let me give you an example. Farmers don't need to buy tractors. They can't even manage the tractors. They don't need to do research for innovation. They don't have the technology. The universities and the institutes of agriculture will do research for innovation. Then the tractor hiring companies will provide the tractorization, and the farm will now be prepared, and farmers will go there and work. And we cannot do sufficient agriculture without irrigation. Climate change is real. And then the pattern of rainfall is changing. So the only way we can get the best from the farm is for us to be able to have predictive technology. Predictive technology in terms that this is my farm. I need water Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I can, by the push of the pump, I can release water to the farm and then close it when I've gotten enough water, and know when I'm going to harvest and when I'm going to get my farm to be ready. This is what they are doing in other parts of the world. They are doing it in Morocco. Those are places that are in the desert. Why can't we do it in Nigeria where we have the land? It's just political will to do it, and the responsibility again goes back to the local government. We need to strengthen our local governance, and we need to get the state government to be able to do well. There is no reason why a state governor cannot create a minimum of 250 jobs in each of the local government through agriculture. There is no way, if the governors are really thinking instead of just waiting for federal government to come and do it. Federal government cannot do it alone. The federal government is in control of the policy environment.
Yes.
And the policy is fertile enough and is open enough for them to be able to do whatever business they want to do now.
All right, my next question is going to be on food security. There cannot be food security if we don't have success, or if we don't record success in the agricultural sector. So how then can we achieve food security? You could also share with us some of the biggest challenges to food security in Nigeria as a country and in Africa.
You see, in Africa, when we talk of food security, 3 key issues have affected food security, especially in the last 10 years. Number 1, climate change. Number 2, distortion of the value chain, security. And number 3, funding.
Okay.
And when we talk of food security, it's not just a question of availability of food. Do we have the right food to put on the table, the quality, and do the people have enough money to buy the food? And it is the responsibility of the government to ensure food security. So with all these challenges around food security, 1, we must produce. Then we must export, and we must do import substitution. You'll be surprised, I was watching something on social media about a week ago. China has started producing gari, and they are bringing it to us. You can see it. So if you don't produce food for your people, other people will produce it for you. And whoever is producing food for you, you are going to be at their mercy. So food security is key. And food security is also linked to social security. The farmland is not protected. The security is not in there. I'll give you an example. We were doing a study for FAO on soya beans production to improve soya, so that we can then improve the poultry business, because soya and maize are major components of poultry. The farmers said they got everything they needed to produce soya, but they have only one problem. What was the problem? Security. They said government should remove armed robbers from the road. So these are major issues. So state government, local government must be able to help their people to make them to secure. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has already created agro rangers. So what the state government needs to do now is to employ these youth, hand them over to the NCDC for them to be able to train them, so that they will now be able to protect their farmers, and the farmers will be able to go back to the farm. It's a complete shame that we need to do. If the farmland is not secure, farmer cannot go to the farm. If the farmers don't go to the farm, they cannot produce. Even when they produce, this market is not secure. How do you create opportunity? How do you make sure that the market is secure, that the farmers can go home and sleep and be sure that they will be able to produce for the market?
So it's pretty much the same problems, but just on a different scale.
Scale.
On a different scale.
And other African countries are addressing it. They are designing programs for youth to encourage them to use technology to go into agriculture. It's only in this our environment that we are not doing enough, that we are still thinking that, okay, let's throw some money at them, let's give them some. It's not only loan. Let's build capacity. Our development partners have done enough for us. IFAD Value Chain Development Program is there. IFAD Sustainable Livelihood Program in Niger Delta is there. So all these programs, we can then replicate them at subnational level. Federal government has demonstrated what could be done.
Yes.
The development partners have brought in some money and they have done the proof of concept. We need to now move forward and then organize our farmers.
All right. Now, you've mentioned certain things. You talked about the example you gave about soya production, optimizing it.
Yes.
Now, what other strategies can government adapt for crops production? Because that appears to be one issue, or one major issue.
Thank you. During the First Republic and some part of the Second Republic, there were agricultural settlements across the country. We need to go back to those agricultural settlements. The time of a single farmer operating in a local environment, working on 1 hectare of land is gone. We need 5,000 hectares, 20,000 hectares, 500,000 hectares. We have the land. Like what the governor of Niger State is doing. Clearing the land, putting the youth there, protecting the land, and making sure that they work on the land. And at the end of the day, create a market opportunity. That whatever we produce there, they have agreement with those who will buy the produce. The millers, the poultry, the brewery, and all those things, they will buy the maize. So all we need to do, protect the farmer to produce. And the moment they get enough, the first set of loan to be able to produce, they don't need money again, because they will get money to be able to continue to do their business. But we need to, once secure the land, protect the land, then introduce irrigation. Because you cannot use rain-fed agriculture to be very competitive in a climate that you cannot predict.
You can't predict. Yes. All right. Okay. Now, Okay, well, this what you said is almost going to answer this question, but I'll ask it all the same. What is the best way that federal and state governments can maximize agri-business?
There's a National Council on Agriculture, and there's a Nigeria Governors Forum. They need to do a peer review. If one governor is doing well, the other governor should go and study them. So, National Council of Agriculture is a committee of all the agriculture commissioners headed by the Minister for Agriculture and Food Security.
Yes.
They must be able to tell them those who are doing well, those who are not doing well. I cannot imagine a governor sitting down, not doing anything in agriculture, and see what Niger State is doing, see what Nasarawa State is doing, and see what Katsina State is doing. And you can see the commitment, you can see the registration. Can you look at what is happening in Jigawa State? Look at the wheat revolution, look at the rice revolution in Jigawa. And you can see the stability we have in Jigawa over the last 3 governments in Jigawa State. So others should be able to copy them and then be able to create opportunity. Even when they produce and they cannot sell, the state should buy from them and put it in the strategic reserve. And then push it forward anytime we have scarcity. The World Food Program is ready to buy anything we produce. And the good news is that our production of food and crops in Africa is still the best, because we follow the natural process.
Right.
Yes. And the quality is very good. The Kano-Kura rice corridor, as given the example, the Kano-Kura rice corridor produces the best rice in Nigeria. And so if there was a time we were studying what makes them to be better, the farmers said they don't sell their rice to Lagos because of bad road. They sell their rice to Libya. They said the moment the trailers crosses the border, they are sure it will get to Libya.
Wow.
And they get their money in foreign exchange. So all this question of you are closing the border, you are wasting your time. The farmers know how to get it. The only border we have in Nigeria is at the airport. So we need to be able to be frank and sincere and get these farmers. If we produce enough and they push this food out, they will get money. And when they get money, they get foreign exchange. All we need to do, let us capture what they are producing and what they are earning into the national economy so that it can increase our foreign exchange earnings.
All right, interesting. Now let's talk about emerging trends that can shape economic growth, emerging trends in agribusiness. You've cited examples globally, you've cited examples in Africa, you've also cited examples here in Nigeria. Are there specific emerging trends that you think, if they're worked on, built upon, established, can help with economic growth, particularly here in Nigeria? In
Nigeria, the first thing we need to do is to empower the youth. In my book on understanding food security in Nigeria, I stated that there are 3 key things we need to do. We need to put food system stability at the center of food transformation. How do we do it? We need to ensure that we know who is producing what, when and now, what kind of support we need to give to them. Number 2, we need to put our youth at the center of food security and food production. Because without the youth coming into the center, the system will collapse. And how can we bring the youth into it? We need to unbundle the value chain. We need to train them, and we need to prepare the land and register them and get them into the bracket. Many states, they don't even know the number of farmers they have. They don't even know who is doing what. And they don't even know which value chain are they producing. So when we do all those things and then we prepare the land, we mechanize the land, we do irrigation, we can feed entire Africa by mechanizing the land between Kaduna and Abuja. And there is a dam in Jere that will provide this water. And that dam is not being used now because of security. So we can protect the place. If you clear 10 kilometers this side, 10 kilometers this side, you get enough land to be able to produce food for Africa.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. From talking to you, it gives me the hope that something can be done, something should be done, and this would see an end to the fear about food security in Nigeria and in Africa. Thank you so much for
Thank you very much. I'm confident about it that Nigeria can do it. And with the focus of the federal government and what some state governments are really doing. And the good news is that many of the current state governors, they are first-time governors. And being first-time governors, they are eager to perform. They are eager to achieve. So if they can do it and sustain what they are doing now for the next 4 years, you will see the impact.
That will be amazing.
Thank you very much.
That will be amazing. I've been speaking with Dr. Steve Olusegun Ogidan, MNI. He is the MD CEO of Successory Nigeria Limited. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. And to you who has been listening and watching. I hope that you've picked a thing or two. I hope that he has encouraged you as a young person to not see agriculture as something of the past, but something that can actually lift you out of a state of poverty. Up next is Tasty. Oh, I beg your pardon. Okay, up next is entertainment. You know, the word that never sleeps but always gives us something to talk about. Let's catch up a little bit.
On the entertainment scene, Wizkid and Davido have reignited a firestorm on social media with their heated and confrontational exchanges. The battleground for this feud has extended beyond X, with both Nigerian artists trending across various social media platforms. It all began when a fan asked Wizkid to release a new song. Wizkid responded to the request of dropping a new song by posting a video of Davido in a vulnerable moment and captioned it, "Beg like this and send a video." This caption led to a frenzy of reactions from fans of both artists. In retaliation, Davido took offense and fired back at Wizkid. The feud escalated as they engaged in a back-and-forth exchange, throwing shades at each other. Burna Boy achieves a groundbreaking milestone as it sets a new record for the highest-grossing venue in the United States. The Nigerian music icon's remarkable achievement underscores its continuous historic accomplishments, further elevating the global commercial success of African music. This feat solidifies Burna Boy's position as the foremost African artist in the global stage. Congratulations to Burna Boy on this remarkable achievement. Jessica Akunna, a renowned Nigerian skit maker known as Sister Benefit, shared on her Instagram page the heartwarming tale of how a love story blossomed at her NYSC camp in Lagos. In 2019, she met a disinterested camper who had been convinced by his friend to participate in NYSC solely for the experience. Jessica initiated interaction, which eventually cultivated into an incredible friendship, and now they are set to embark on a lifetime together. Congratulations to Jessica on this beautiful chapter of her life.
Look at my daughter embarrassed. That girl is very smart. Sometimes her teacher will call me on phone and be begging me to please beg my daughter to stop carrying first for once. Hey! I'm telling you, she's want to see the drink, I've bought it. Embarrassed. Which one is button? It's bought. Oh, sorry. Drop the drink. How much is my change? And you gave me 500. The drink is 200. So your change is 1,500.
What?
Wishing a happy birthday to all our celebrity celebrants this week in the month of May. We'll close with a comedy skit.
Look at this. You look like you're a couple. You are joking.
Yes, couple of friends.
Emotional, damn it.
See the woman. If you not see the woman, you die fast.
Viewers. Emotional, damn it.
See the woman. If you not see the woman, you die fast.
And that's our story on the entertainment scene.
This reminds me of something they say, Konimanda, Konimamberiam. Have you ever heard that before? It's now time for African fashion segment. And today, this beautiful set of people are up on our spotlight. I'm talking about the Igbo beaded brides. Yes, they are our focus today. Beauty is how best I can describe it. Take a look. If there's time.
In Igbo culture, bridal fashion is a cherished tradition that highlights the beauty and elegance of the bride on her special day. One of the most important aspects of Igbo bridal fashion is the intricate beadwork that adorns the bride from head to toe. Beads have always held a significant meaning in Igbo culture, symbolizing wealth, status, and femininity. For the Igbo bride, beads are more than just accessories. They are a reflection of her heritage and identity. The beadwork begins with the bride's headpiece, which is typically made of colorful glass beads woven together to create a stunning crown that sits majestically on her head. This headpiece is a symbol of royalty and beauty, meant to make the bride stand out and feel like a queen on her wedding day. Moving down to the neck, the bride wears beaded necklaces that accentuate her neckline and add a touch of glamour to her overall look. The intricate pattern and design of the beads are a testament to the skill and craftsmanship of the artisan who creates them. Beaded bracelets and anklets adorn the bride's wrists and ankles, creating a melodic, tinkling sound as she moves, symbolizing the joy and celebration of the occasion. These delicate pieces add a touch of femininity and grace to the bride's semblance, completing her look and adding a sense of tradition and culture to the proceedings. The beads worn by Igbo bride are not just decorative. They hold deep spiritual significance as well. Each bead has its meaning and symbolism, reflecting the belief and values of the Igbo people. The colors of the beads are carefully chosen to represent different aspects of life, from love to prosperity to fertility and protection. As the bride walks down the aisle, her beaded semblance shimmers and sparkles in the sunlight, catching the eyes of all who gaze upon her. The beads serve as a visual reminder of the rich cultural heritage and tradition that the Igbo people hold dear, honoring the past while celebrating the future. They are a symbol of love, commitment, and tradition. They are a testament to the beauty and grace of the bride, a reflection of her identity and heritage, and a celebration of the rich culture of the Igbo people.
That was beautiful, right? Okay, to the part of the show that I love the most, tasty ideas. Today's segment, we're talking about one delicacy that has different presentations and, different ways that people call it. Some call it moi moi, some call it mai mai, and some very, people call it bean cake. No matter the name you call it, its captivating taste is the same. Take a look.
Today, I'm thrilled to walk you through the process of making authentic moi moi wrapped in mousse. Not only is this method traditional, it is also the healthiest way to cook moi moi. Let's get started. Displaying on your screen is the list of ingredients needed to make this meal. Now to the procedure. Firstly, peel and wash the beans thoroughly. It is important to dispose the shaft from the beans to prevent unwanted odor in the kitchen. Next, blend the washed beans with your preferred amount of pepper and onions. Add just a little water while blending. It is worthy of note that the soaking time of the beans determines the water needed. Now, mix in your seasonings and bleached oil. Mix until you achieve a smooth consistency, not too thick nor too watery. Time to wrap now. Layer 2 leaves and roll into a cone shape. Adjust the top to prevent any form of leakage. Pour the batter into the cone. If you so desire, you can add some fish and even eggs. And then you seal the leaf. Place the wraps in a steamer, covering the top with no leaves, like so. Lastly, steam the wrapped moi moi for 45 to 60 minutes.
I have had a great time hosting the show and knowing that you are there. I hope you had a great time too. See you next week, same time, same station. My name is Uju Oheri Nwachukwu. Bye.